We are looking at the front page of Mediagraph, and um, that we're going to look here at my own personal collection of material. I want to emphasize a few things about the design of Mediagraph. One is that we are highly focused on um, discovery of content, and that, of course, is a double-edged sword. It's both the um, uh, the application or creation of the information about your files, the analysis of it, as well as presenting those files to people in a way that allows them to discover what they're looking for. And that begins on the front page where you can have featured collections, and these allow you to let a person come in and go directly to the place that you think they want to go to. These are group enabled, which means if you are part of a group within the account, it's possible that you are seeing a featured collection that is only for you. And in this case, we'll highlight the social media collection here. So there is a group in this account that is the social media team. There is a featured collection for their material. And only members of the social media team can see it. I'm logged in as a member of the social media team right here. And when I click, that's going to take me into the collection, and I can see the files here that have been made available to me. Now, there's only a handful of files here, but we'll see that Mediagraph is capable of working with many different files. I will go through a little bit here, just how it works. Um, Very simple. When I double click, I see an image. I can move through those with my arrows. I can select from here using the S key, and that highlights a square in the bottom right or sorry, bottom left. And those selected files are here. If I want to see which files I have just selected, I can click to filter down to just those. Maybe I want to deselect something, which I can do and refresh. Or maybe I want to add files to my selection, and I can do that by uh, adding a selection here. And again, that's going to now be part of my selected images. I've got, when I have images selected, I have the ability to download. And this could either be my ability to download, or it could be um, a pipeline that takes you into an access request process where you are requesting files. A lot of our clients use this. They don't want to make the files available to download uh, to anybody without approval. And if you don't have download access, this could be taking you into a request process. You can also share, and that easy to make a quick share and share with other people. And give it a name, get a share link, and then that share link, in this case, this user is not allowed to enable downloads. And now let's go to an incognito window and see what would happen. What they would see is just this very stripped down quick share where they're allowed to go through and look at the pictures or video or documents. And then if this user was allowed to enable download, you'd see a download button right here. So the kind of basic things that people need to do are right in front of them. You can see that we have a collection tree over here, and you can build that as deeply as you wish, so you can organize your material. And so I've got my archival University of North Carolina material, and I can have that again as deeply organized as I wish, um, even down to granular collections of just the players. This is a great way to organically teach people what's in the collection, so that oftentimes people are not going to come to the collection knowing what's in there, and this is one of the many ways we make content organically visible. Now, of course, when you get enough collections, then you need to search, and we give you type ahead searching that will take you to any matching collection. Again, a really nice way to just find content within the system. That also works in the general search bar. So if I start typing, I will get some any matches here. We only show you a match if you're allowed to see a file with that keyword or person keyword or event name attached to it, which is something that's very uncommon to find in DEM applications. And again, the whole point here is to give you an organic way to learn what's in the collection, to give your users an organic way to learn what's in the collection. I'm going to switch back into the main administrator here. And again, this is a really nice thing that we do is we allow you to switch to the view of any user in the system. And that really helps for troubleshooting and for making sure that you've got things set up right so that people have the access you want them to have and no more. And so let's take a look at some of the ways that you can find and let's talk about how well, first of all, I'm going to show you that when I start typing Michael, you see that there are many more results here. So this is because I, as a user, have access to many more people named Michael in this system. Let's try searching for one that's going to show us some of the artificial intelligence capabilities that are in Mediagraph. So I'm going to just type artificial in here. And there's some pictures up here that are labeled with artificial light, but when I go down a little farther, I'm seeing some of what I'm actually looking for. Couple of things important. One is that we are OCRing all images that come in. We create optical character recognition. This one is showing because the word artificial was found in the image visibly. We have video files, and this is shown because we transcribe all videos on upload, and we index that entire transcript for search. And when I type the word into the search box here, I can see where this is mentioned in this video, and I can just click to jump my playhead straight to 42 minutes and 41 seconds. And then let's just do a broad search on our, and you can see I've done this search many times as shown in this video. These files, I can tell by mouse over, have the keyword artificial intelligence. That this also works for PowerPoints. We're indexing all of the text. I can find out which slide made this show up in the search by typing in artificial, and that will get me there. Hang on a second. Better if I spell it right. And that's going to show me the slide and highlight that. That also applies to Word docs and PDFs and even large PDFs. This is a 544-page book I wrote on digital asset management, and the word artificial.
Zoom meeting,
Shows up, and I can show the page, and I can jump down through every instance of the word artificial showing up in this 544-page document. And that's just the jump off point for what we're starting to be able to do with the artificial intelligence in Mediagraph. So a very good way to do some searching here. We also are indexing faces through our facial recognition, and I can go through and look and see. We're calling out here um, the 50 most common faces that are shown in any group of files. And if I want to narrow down to just the ones of Josie, that just these 5,001 files, this will update with the faces that are found in just this set of files. So I can say, well, I'm looking for pictures of Josie and Thomas. And um, and so these come up, and I can see who else is in photos of Josie and Thomas. Let's say we have Josie, Thomas, and Ian. And again, this is just narrowing down. And the vast majority of these tags were automatically generated at the time of upload. Typically, I need to train a face on just one image, and it will be able to pick out any instance of that person as the files are uploaded. And I'll show you how this works in real time in a couple of minutes. It is such a time saver, and actually, it's just an amazing discovery tool. It's very common for people to load, 100 or 200 or 400,000 files into Mediagraph, do some face training, and have content become discoverable that they had no idea was in the collection, because nobody had comprehensively tagged it in the past. So really, really useful tools right there. I do want to also mention that we do not forsake the plight or no, the usefulness of manual tagging, and we allow you to tag at scale using our taxonomy tree. So we have a user configurable taxonomy tree. You can put as many terms in here as you would like. The largest of our taxonomy trees has about 55,000 unique terms in it. And you can organize these in any way you like. So if I have pictures from concerts and I want to organize them according to who the band is, what the concert was, or who any of the musicians are. Very easy for me to do this, and even to reconfigure this. It's very common that we have found. I have found in my years of consulting that people may put a taxonomy together. They think this is the right way to do it. And then when you actually start adding material, you find that it does need revision. And for instance, this for me was originally just concerts, and I was just putting every concert in there. And I thought, you know what, this is actually going to be more useful for me if I can split it up in the way that I have split it up. But it's great to be able to simply click on any particular one of these. If I want to find the photos of U2, I can easily say, show me every picture with U2. Now these tags were added pre-face tagging. And the way that you can do that in Mediagraph is you can simply select files, and let's say you uploaded a whole folder of files from this concert, and just drag it right onto the keyword itself. So there's a couple of things happening here. One is that this becomes a controlled vocabulary. You only have to put the keywords in here that you think that are important to you. There may be other keywords in the system, but these are the ones that are important. And so we have a controlled vocabulary, and that controlled vocabulary is a tagging tool that works at scale. You can select 1,000 files from a group of incoming files, and you can drag them straight onto one of these tags and apply that information. And this is actually pretty rich information here. You can see that this has a calendar icon, and So it's not simply the name Nils Lofgren at the Psychedelic. It can support a description. It can support a poster image. It can support a date tag. Um, it can support an unlimited number of web links and location details, associated keywords, associated organizations. And all of this information is standard IPTC information that can be embedded in the files. So simply dragging a file onto Nils Lofgren at the Psychedelic um, right here would apply all of this information to the file. And so that is a what our customers tell us is that that is a fantastic way for them to be able to truly enrich their files and to do it very easily, and then have this information be embedded in the file and travel with it upon download.
Peter, can I just jump in there
Yeah.
and just tell people what IPTC is?
Mhm.
It's the International Press and Telecommunications Council, and that's the widest used metadata for photos in the world. And it's built into many, many systems such as Adobe products and so on and so forth. So, in other words, nothing that you're capturing here is proprietary. It's all open. It's transferable to other systems, which is a
I-
key
yeah,
requirement
that's
for a system that is going to have longevity about it.
absolutely. Thank you. I will try not to use any more acronyms without defining them. Um, I do also want to say that it's not just visible to Adobe products. It is visible to the Apple and Windows operating systems. And so the keywords, the
And
event
Google search.
names is all visible uh, when you download a file. If you were to just search the Windows Explorer or Apple Spotlight, um, U2 would come up and Bono would come up if his name is attached to it. I can see what tags are. So yes, his name is attached to it, Bono, U2, and the concert event, Springfest. That all of that information is embedded in the file and readable by your computer's operating system. And then that also means you can transfer it into any application that has good, solid image metadata capability. This is something that should be part of any archival system, in my view, because it is so widespread, widely used, and useful. I'll show you some other things that are really nice about discovering content in Mediagraph, and then we'll take a look at some of the AI features. One of the things we do also is read all of the metadata creation dates out of any file that gets uploaded, and that goes down to the date, and you can go find Russian roulette here. And files from any particular thing. My uh, nephew's wedding, good. Um, and so easy to find files from any particular date, and you can reassign files to either a specific year, or if you happen to know a specific date, you can reassign it, and you can reassign these by drag and drop. So if you're an administrator and um, I'm seeing this as this um, uh, this inscription on the back of the photo in some somewhat hard to read cursive, uh, was OCR'd. Not perfectly, but you can fix it if you'd like, change lane to lake. Um, So this again really helping with discovery, and then because it has the date on it, I was able to um, put an actual day in 1888 as the creation date here. That's actually, I guess, the date that he gave it to my great grandmother. Um, but having this date, it's like a date histogram almost, is incredibly useful. Okay. Um, let's see. Let's do a quick demo of face tagging just to give you.
So, Peter, that's actually
Yeah.
doing HTR, handwriting text recognition, which is quite
Yes.
amazing.
Yeah, and that's getting better and better.
Yeah.
The new language models that we've hooked into Mediagraph are doing a fantastic job with all different kinds of text. It can be handwriting and it can be not in columns and not straight and really do a pretty amazing job. I'm going to show you a quick example of face tagging and also how we integrate that with our taxonomy. So I have a keyword, a person keyword for my father. And there's 6 files here that are keyworded. One of them is one where you can recognize his face. The other is the keywords were added to these documents because his name appears there. And including this, and this handwriting is also recognized. But I'm going to use this as my one single reference image. And so I'm going to open the face tagging panel. Now, because there is a person tag that is assigned to this, and there's no face associated with that person, as soon as I put my cursor in here, it's going to say, you probably want that person whose name is attached to this file. And since there's pictures of only one guy, that's yes, indeed, what I want. And this is all you have to do to train. So I've done that to train one image here. I'm going to select all of these files, and then I'm going to run the AI action for face search. And that's going to go through and um, find everything that it thinks is him. And we can see this counting up here in the face panel. And you can also see we get a progress bar. The other thing we're going to see is that in your taxonomy, the generic icon turns into the face, and the tags, or sorry, the files that are recognized are going to be shown here, and I can just see them counting up as new files are found that it believes to be my father. And so almost done here. Let's take a look in the face search once that's or in the face filter here once that's done, and we'll see how many files it has recognized. So one was trained and 37 were added by recognition. And yes, it's a little frightening that it can find him in so many different phases of life from this one portrait of him in his 40s. And again, this is the kind of thing I was saying is just an incredible tool for discovery of collections where um, it, there's really no way that large collections are going to be annotated by a person if you have hundreds of thousands of files and hundreds or thousands of people you want to identify. This makes it really simple to do. I'm gonna take a look here. I'm going to show you some of what we have just added with what we call composable AI. Now, composable AI allows us to create a very specific instruction for uh, one of several large language models to go in and do specific analysis. And one of the things you see in most dams is if it has AI, it is only generically um, identifying material in there, with the exception of faces, which of course it has to train. But everything else is going to be sort of generic keywords. And the thing that we've done with composable AI is to give it specific instructions. And let's see if I have a screenshot of the instructions in here. Yeah, so these are the instructions that I gave it. Create a count of the number of people shown in the image. For sporting events, only count players and not spectators. And then it has allowed values of 0 people to um, up to, I'll show you what those values are. And the thing that's great about that then is that as a um, structured data controlled vocabulary becomes something that is filterable. Close the face panel here. And I'm going to open up the custom metadata panel. Now I'm doing a lot of experimentation, so you're going to see an alarming number of uh, AI actions in here, but let's just go to person count and say that I'm looking for a picture and I only want pictures that have 2 people in it. And so this very structured request for information is doing a really nice job of deciding when the other people ought to be counted. So this guy in the background is out of focus, but he's counted because he's obviously an important part of the picture. Um, the sports photo is counting these 2 main people. In this case, the 2 sets of legs. Um, and so nice, easy to understand, quite useful for graphic design. Let's go look at another example. So key colors, that's pretty much the same thing. Now, the other thing that we can do with composable AI is we can test various prompts and language models against each other. And so when I have this as caption testing, so what I've done is create multiple um, variations of a description and asked different services, Haiku 3, um, or uh, let's see, Sonnet 3.7, and and so I tested these, and one of the things I found I didn't really like how well this did. Um, I thought these were too wordy. And then I ended up saying, well, I'd like this 2 sentence description. And so that's the one I've settled on. But I can make this test set and I can go through and compare the description that it's put on these files to decide what's the prompt I like and which service does a better job. So that's it's really nice to do that in Mediagraph, uh,
And
so
Peter,
that
those are
yeah,
AI services that you're pulling in there, different AI models.
absolutely. And you have a choice of several, and the kind of stuff that it can do in description. A colorfully decorated camel sits on the ground in a desert setting, adorned with vibrant tassels and traditional textiles. 2 tourists pose with the camel, one wearing a bright green jacket, yellow hat, and the other holds a camera and wears plaid pants. And a reasonable description of um, what is visible in this picture. And now with face tagging, it can also know who's in this picture. And so it knows that it's Lucy Garrett and it knows it's Dorothy Donald Krogh. So this is can all be done. That's done by AI. Um, and so a big part of using AI is is you being comfortable with the analysis that it does and saying, yes, this is good enough for us. And yes, I would like to run this either on everything or just on certain files. And you have the ability also, of course, to edit this. So this is very much an assistant. It is helping you um, to create this information and to give you a start at what a caption could be. And this is, only one of many different things that you can do. This was another experiment I did recently that I thought was pretty cool, was uh, emotional analysis. And I just had a different prompt here. I said, describe the emotion in this photo in 1 sentence, followed by up to 6 comma-separated adjectives describing that emotion. And so we can look at this photo, and the emotional analysis is saying this image radiates pure joy as a person sits surrounded by adorable puppies on a couch in a photography studio setting. Joyful, exuberant, delighted, heartwarming, carefree, blissful. Now, anybody who's brought up puppies knows that carefree is probably not a great term there. Wrangling six Labrador Retriever puppies is not carefree, but that's pretty good description from an emotional standpoint. And let's take a look at another one that's completely different. Vintage photograph of my grandmother. Again, she's recognized, and this vintage photograph captures a contemplative, enigmatic expression beneath a distinctive feathered hat, conveying a sense of pensive introspection, thoughtful, mysterious, composed, dignified, wistful, elegant. I think a pretty good description. And the band, the B-52s, completely different vibe here. And it says, this image captures a sense of artistic detachment and cool indifference against a stark backdrop, aloof, stylized, distant, composed, deliberate, enigmatic. Good, I think a good description for the band, the B-52s, and my color infrared photograph of them. So this is we're starting to explore what we can do um, with that information. So here's one where I'm running two processes on it. This document has some hard to read script, and so I used the um, uh, the OCR. I did some OCR testing to see which did the best job. I made three different prompts or used three different services. And then after I extracted the text in French, I created this um, action to translate it. Well, actually, after I extracted it, I created an action to tell me what languages are the principal languages that are found in the OCR. And then I asked it to translate that into English. And I've been looking at this document for a long time, never knew what it said. Now I do. Um, and let's see, we start to get into some other interesting places here. So this is a client that's coming in that's a Croatian natural foods producer. And I did just a snip from their website um, and then I asked it to translate into English. The the client tells me this is a very excellent translation. And then she asked, can this be downloaded? And yes, of course it can come down in a CSV. And she said, could it also do Slavic? Yes, it could. And the the person on her design team or the previous design team had thrown away all of the translations of their products. And they have hundreds and hundreds of products, and they need to download this text and have it in three different languages. And that's a thing that can very easily be done with Mediagraph.
And Peter,
This
there's
is
the
this is something.
question, what languages can be used in Mediagraph?
Well, it's whatever the various large language models support,
Yes.
and that is a something that is growing. That's a really important point, Dave, that the capabilities of these large language models is just growing exponentially.
Mm,
And so what's possible today is a fraction of what's going to be possible in 2 or 3 or 4 months.
mm,
And we're giving collection managers the ability to hook onto these as they come online to test, verify, make corrections if needed, and then run it on all of their files really easily.
mm.
This one I think is great for a great illustration for cultural heritage collections. This is a brochure from the 1939 New York World's Fair about what is now called properly in America, Little People. And I asked it to do some analysis of this document. So this is a 40-page PDF, and it did a very good job creating a synopsis of this PDF. I also asked it to, in this case, I didn't put any guardrails around it. I said, give me keywords. And it did a very nice job reducing, you know, the concepts and keywords down to ones that are that are appropriate. But I really love this one where I said extract key people and concepts. And so it created key concepts. And it has these numbered sets of concepts here that are dealing with that are synopsizing the various chapters and various content in the document in a way that makes it much easier than just a simple word search of the document. This is um, something that is a lot more um, uh, uh, concise and I think on target. Also, key people, and I didn't even tell it to do it, but it grouped them into different groups, including um, married little people, couples that are featured in the document. So, a fantastic way to extract this data. Um, and the thing that's kind of crazy about this is the cost of this is so low. Um, the text analysis that this was built on, um, you can do 10,000 pages for about $1. So
Wow.
10,000 pages of analysis like this
Sure.
for $1. And and when I say pages, it actually isn't even the pages here. It's we're using page to mean about 300 words of text. So there, most of these pages have nowhere near that amount of text. But it's quite cost effective. And then you can have it do some other cool stuff like uh, for the Croatian foods producer, I asked it to um, identify what's shown in the picture and then identify 5 traditional Croatian dishes that use this food. And it identified it as green peas, green split peas, and then gave me 5 traditional Croatian dishes that make use of green split peas. So now we're getting into the secondary analysis where we can synthesize and process um, the we take the OCR text or the PDF text that we just pull straight out of the PDF and can analyze that in some cool ways. I want to do a quick demonstration here of gathering some pictures and showing you how all of this can come together. I've got one of the things that we offer is this ability to have many different ways to upload. And this is the simplest of them. We call it quick upload. We generate QR codes that people can just snap with their phone. This has a handful of requirements, your name and an email address, saying whether you created the pictures or the files or not, and then you give it a name. And And then you have control over the rights agreement that a person must agree to before uploading. And so if you're collecting files for social media use or you're collecting it for a deeper collection and you want people to say that yes, you may house this in your collection or make it available to the public, you're in total control of that. And so I can't even upload until I've agreed. And now I'm going to add a folder of some files and that's this one. I'm just going to select that folder and upload. And that's going to upload this folder tree. And these are all HEICs out of my iPhone. And let's go back into Mediagraph as the administrator and see what's happening here, because this is really nice to put a bunch of this stuff together. I'm going to sort this on the newest uploads. And so that's going to show me these files that are coming in. And we all there. Yeah, okay. Um, so it does take a second to process. Let's see how far along we are. Um, okay. All right. I'm going to go side by side so we can see this a little better. A couple of things that we can see have happened here, which is almost like really automatic. So the I've applied the keyword for number of people, 0 people. It knows who the person is who uploaded. It knows the usage rights I've granted. It extracts the GPS data if it's in there. And then I've asked it to create a 2 sentence description. I've asked it, this is where you can filter on the person count. Um, and then I've also asked it to create alt text, which is for us in the US is a really important requirement. Um, for this image, it recognized 4 out of the 5 people and added their person keywords by face tag. And um, it created this nice description. It's filterable at 5 people. And the alt text, this image shows a group of older adults, ouch, posing for a photo outdoors. Um, this knows that those are 3D glasses in red theater seats to enjoy a special screening. Um, this theater is filled with people of all ages participating in the immersive visual experience to begin. We can see the auto tags that were generated, which include movie theater, watching crowd of people, 3D glasses, screening, men, women, social gathering. This knows that it is a bowl of Asian soup with noodles, vegetables, and meat. That's accurate. Um, So these descriptions are really wonderful for files that don't have any caption in there. It knows it's a vibrant yellow Mustang with racing stripes being photographed on a lively downtown street at night. Um, Keywords: automobile, yellow car, people, neon sign, transportation, nightlife, storefront, street lamps, city life, classic car. Uh, and all of these are searchable in Mediagraph. And this kind of blew me away that um, it knows it's a pinball machine. It also knows what this text says underneath that reflection, and the bottom text prompting the player to shoot again when lit. Um,
It's amazing.
is kind of scary. It knows where it was taken. One of the things that I can do now is look at these files in aggregate. I'm going to go see where those got put um, into the uh, folder structure. And when I select a file, all I need to do is go find the check mark and follow this check mark. So this got submitted to the social media library, into group uploads, into random stuff, and there they are. It and because they came in with a folder structure, that folder structure is preserved. So since the user, in this case me, had already put these into folders, that information is really useful information, which could be turned into a tag. I can also go look at it in map view and see where those files, where those images were taken. This is reading it out of the metadata. I can zoom into this area. It knows that 6 pictures are within this rectangle, and I can go see exactly which ones are there. It also can tell me what dates these files were created. I'm going to look for the blue and open this up and see that we have some from June and some from July on these particular dates. And if I want to see what they are, I can click on it and see that file. So quite a bit of information is extracted and made visible to you. And we have all of this great AI information that is just happening in the background.
Peter, this is
Okay, that was
amazing.
a lot, I know.
I'm just aware we're running out of time, and I wondered whether people have questions, but I just wanted to make a comment. I mean, this is just a brilliant system for being able to gather files from across an organization, across a community, and have so much automated kind of information associated with it, which allows you to very quickly process the files and then push it out to social media or push it out to um, you know, events or marketing collateral that you need to produce, and so on and so forth. Are there any questions from anyone about this? Anything that came to your mind? Probably everyone is feeling fairly blown away. Any questions? Feel free to unmute if you have a question and ask it. So certainly, just so you know, in Africa Media Online, we're obviously doing lots of digitization of heritage content, and as well as of schools and so on and so forth. And we find Mediagraph enormously helpful in, for instance, face recognition. You have, you know, 10,000 photographs from last year from a particular school, and you can create face tags for many of the students, and it'll find them, and that capability is really right at your fingertips in the system.
To show
um
you how you can make an event tag.
okay, so there are some questions. Keep
Yeah,
going.
great.
And I'll read out the questions as soon as you're done.
Yeah, so I made a tag for this particular event where these um, four images were shot. I just created it right there, and then I just drag and drop to add that information. So this is where I can add information that I know that the robot will not know. But go ahead with questions. Yeah.
So one question is, are these AI actions customized by each user, or are there some general ones already in the system?
So the stuff that's already in the system are face tagging, auto keywords, transcription, OCR, sensitive content warnings, and alt text generation. Those are all in the system, and with the exception of face training, there's nothing the site administrator needs to do. Um, these others are ones that you have full control over. We have a standard set of examples that that we enable. And they're ones that we've tested and think are good. But you can make as many of these as you want. And yes, an administrator of the account would do it. You must be an administrator. You enable, choose the foundation model, write your prompt, say what you want it to work on, um, and then say whether you want it to be structured data or not. Um, so yeah, it is in this initial rollout, we are expecting that people will have somebody who's interested in AI somewhere in their shop who would want to be um, playing around with this, want to experiment and find good, useful
Great.
actions.
Peter, another question is, obviously you've showcased a lot with pictures. Like
Yeah.
to know whether MediaGraph can work with sound archives and equally video archives. And I know you haven't shown all that, but absolutely it can, Delight. But Peter, go for it.
Yes.
It can do speech to text.
Yeah. So we saw speech to text, and you can send that transcript off for analysis, just like you can send any text off for analysis. So you could take a long interview and say divide this into chapters and uh, tell me, extract key concepts. There's some limitations in the service that we're using right now in terms of how long a video you can send for analysis, but we're confident that's going to be ironed out pretty quickly. In terms of analyzing the video content separate from the audio track.
Great. Another question in the South African context. How does the protection of personal information, POPI Act, impact upload and tagging of images and content? Mike, perhaps I can answer that. I would say it depends on really what community you're dealing with and whether that community is participating freely in loading their content to the archive. So most schools, for instance, will have parents sign uh, a POPI agreement ahead of time, and so that allowing, say, for a particular student to be represented in photographs or whatever. And I can imagine that that's going to be the case in other communities as well over time. Obviously, there are other rights that are so if you're in the public area, then there's certain things that POPI covers, but certain things that it can't. So there's the right of the press to report on events and so on and so forth. Yeah. So maybe in the
So
American
I have a
context,
couple of
yeah.
I'll have a couple of things generically to say about that. One is that we are sending the faces out for recognition, but and that's to an Amazon service called Amazon Recognition, and but the name of the person is never sent out. So the person is recognized and it comes back as just a gobbledygook, you know, collection of letters and numbers. And that's the identifier. And the connection between the face and the person is entirely inside Mediagraph. And you have the ability to, with a single button, well, two buttons here, have Mediagraph completely forget the tie between the face and the person's name. So I know that's important in GDPR in Europe, um, and and so that's that is a thing we clearly support.
Great. And then another question from Delight. Is Mediagraph dependent on cloud storage, and are there implications on data archiving storage capacity costs as the collections may grow over time? Um, yes, certainly Delight. It is all in the cloud, and it does have implications for the amount of data. But you buy data in chunks. So basically, 250 gigabytes of data is your starting point, and then going up to 500 gigs. And Peter, you can probably correct me, 1 terabyte, and so on and so forth. So you
Yeah,
buy,
you can go up to 100 terabytes, but it gets expensive.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So, um, yeah, and that there's, it's an interesting question about looking at this as a collection and preparation tool. Um, as opposed to, we very much designed it to be the end state archive, at least for the period of time you're with us. We are highly focused on the fact that any metadata that you create can be downloaded in CSV form at any point. So you own the data, you have transparent control of it. You can um, it's yours. You can download your files at any point. Yeah,
And you can ingest from CSV. So you can upload a CSV and it updates all the metadata in whatever files is associated.
that's right. So easy data merge and metadata imports where you can you know do it for as many files as you want. In this case, it was 20,900 files. Um, so yeah,
Good.
um, yeah.
Are there any other questions? I know we're over time, and I thank you for all participating in this. And Peter, thank you. It's been enormously helpful, and I think we're all feeling rather blown away by the capabilities that Mediagraph has just, come up with just recently. Um, and yeah, people are just thanking. So yeah, I think we can draw that to a close. You're free to leave. If you would like to ask Peter any further questions for the next few minutes, please do, and feel free to unmute and do that. And if you want to know any more information about it, you can also contact me, editor at africamediaonline.com, or I will put my WhatsApp number in the chat. And our next webinar is the Engage webinar at 11 o'clock next Tuesday morning. And you're all very welcome to that. Right. Any further questions?
Yeah, I saw a question where someone said, "What are the seven languages?" And maybe I was not clear. Um, that it supports hundreds of languages.
Yeah.
Hundreds of languages are supported at this point, and getting larger every day.
Thank you,
And
Tandi.
we are very, very excited about what this can do in the cultural heritage space.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, no,
large.
I
I
think
think it's going to make collections that would not be um, where it would not be practical to maybe even digitize them because the effort
absolutely.
to annotate would be
Yeah. Too
so
huge.
great that
Yeah.
why digitize? But now the fact that you can have this auto processing done
Yeah.
at a really reasonable cost, I
Yeah.
think is quite transformative and
Yeah.
what should be digitized.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have collections that have never received their metadata. We did it for, a cultural heritage institution. It was on in their hands to capture the metadata, and they never did. And actually, they're beautiful collections, photographic collections, and others. And it's just becoming really exciting because of the ability of AI tools to be able to bring such collections to light. So yeah, I mean, we're very excited about your updates in Mediagraph. I mean, we already use Mediagraph in a big way, and so I think it's just going to be even more so.
Wonderful.
Good. Would Afrikaans be a language that is available? Roseanne
Um,
asks.
I think that
Yes.
Dave, this is something for you to be
Yeah.
testing, or
No, it
if,
is.
if
It
you
would
give
be.
me some files, then
It would absolutely be
we'll
available
run a test. Yeah, I'm
because
sure it is.
Amazon does and Google Translate does very well with Afrikaans.
Yeah,
So I'm pretty sure.
great. Yeah, I would be very surprised if that were not the case.
Yeah. Right. Well, I think that we
Okay.
can call it a day. Thank you everyone for being here. Thanks so much, Peter. It's always a pleasure, and we'll be in touch.
Likewise. Great to see you, Dave, and
Cheers.
thanks everybody for coming.
Great.